We are ready to rock and roll. GM, everybody, GM Edu. Welcome this Monday. If you're joining us here in Discord, and if you're watching on YouTube, we're back. How was your weekend, Edu?
It was eventful. You can notice the change of the weather in Barcelona, and this is the last. I was the last weekend of the restriction using mask in spaces, so people will be allowed to be without masks. So people, yeah, summer and spring are coming. I mean, we are in spring, so summer is coming, and you can see it on the street. So it was nice. How about yours?
Right on, man. Yeah, similar observations. Although it's weird because then a cold front came in last night and it's sort of cold again. But it was a beautiful weekend. Good to have time with friends and holidays. Good times had by all in general. And of course, happy holidays to folks who celebrate. And if you don't, hope you had a chance to have a good weekend as well. See everybody here in the Discord with us, GM. We'll give a quick housekeeping overview for folks that might be new. GM also to everybody who might be watching on YouTube. If you are in the server with us today, please make sure that you direct the chat to One Hive TV. Okay, the One Hive TV channel. If you're here in the radio stage, if you scroll up just a bit, you'll find the One Hive TV channel, and we'll drop a link to the YouTube there in just a moment as well. Of course, if you have a chance, I'm going to direct everybody to Twitter for just a second. If you haven't had a chance to retweet and tag people on my quoted tweet of today's show, definitely want to do that. We're going to have a new exciting element here. As Billy said, we're going to have some free money that's going to be given away today to folks that are with us and paying attention and know a little bit about, if you're following what we're talking about today in the news segment, you have a chance of winning. If you stick around for the second hour and listen to our interview with Michael from Popcorn DAO, you have a chance to win again at the end of that segment. We're going to do this as like a multiple choice question. So there's going to be one question that's going to come up, and it's going to go very similar to the trivia games we've had in the past if you joined us for them. The only way that you'll be able to participate is if you're watching on YouTube, okay? Because we're going to share the screen and it's going to have the question. If you use Kahoot before, this is the platform we're using. And so you want to make sure that if you're with us here in the Discord, I'll drop a link to the Twitter in just a moment. You want to make sure you head on over there to check out essentially the TV side or the visual side of what we're doing in today's show. And then you can also make sure to participate in the chance to win some free honey. Okay, so that's the punchline, right? A couple multiple choice questions in today's show, and for everybody who tagged and retweeted the original message on Twitter, you have a chance to win some honey if you get that question correct. So we're going to use trivia at the end of each segment. We'll try to do this each week. So spread the word with us here. I'm going to drop a link to the YouTube channel once again in the One Hive TV chat channel. So if you scroll up just a bit in the Discord, you'll see a link here to 1HTV YouTube. GM, everybody. And I'm going to go ahead and give one more announcement, then I'll pass off the mic to Edu to get us started with the news side of things. We have, as always, a great lineup of shows for you right each week. So we kick off every Monday with the DAO news segment we're about to get into today. We have a guest in the second half, typically about a 2-hour show on Mondays. Tuesdays, we have a bi-week. We have 2 bi-weekly shows, neither of which are happening tomorrow, but we will on Wednesday have our weekly NFT and gaming show. This is 3 p.m. Eastern. And then Thursday this week as well, we'll have a stream at 6 p.m. Eastern. This is going to be a radio and music listening party. It's going to be a Spanish language show. So keep those in mind. After today's awesomeness, you also got shows on Wednesdays and Thursday of this week to check in. And a little bit extra alpha. We will be bringing trivia back as a standalone show. It's not happening this week. But it's coming in the near future. So stay tuned there. Make sure you follow OneHive.org on Twitter. And again, check out the 1HTV YouTube channel linked up in the Discord here. Make sure to subscribe, follow, so you can keep up with the latest content. But that's all I got for the sort of One Hive HTV housekeeping for this morning. GM to everybody who's with us here on Discord. I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to you, Edo, to get us started with the news, my man.
Thank you. Hello everyone again. So basically, we are gonna start by taking a view of the latest snapshot proposal from a various range of DAOs. That's how we Snapshot is our source of truth, and this is where the headline sections comes from. But we're gonna start this time from a different source, which is Twitter. And there was a thread on Twitter that I found quite interesting. I think we all have gone through this thread, and it's basically a user called Micha Da Vinci in Twitter, and she started the thread saying Web3 lingo, it's confusing. This list, it's 50 plus terms that will get you up to speed. Which was the first or the latest lingo from Web3 that got you lost, Tit?
I don't know, man. This is such a great resource, though. If you scroll through, I think some of the ones that I guess in terms of tough to understand. I think like self custody is actually a tough one, and maybe it's just like the phrase that we use to describe it, but sometimes it can be a little bit confusing to people. I'm not sure if it like communicates the value, or I don't know how to say it, but like self custody, smart contract, these S words, I guess they got me a little trouble ahead when I was first learning, right, in the crypto space.
And which one is the one they use the most nowadays?
Wrecked. No, I don't know. DAO, most definitely. And what
Right,
about you, man?
right.
Which of these do you think are sort of the most valuable to touch on?
For me, some of them are funny for different reasons, like using friend for friend, FREN, for saying I see no point of using the same, like it's very similar and doesn't make much of a sense. And HODL, and I really like the explanation she gave this of holding on for dear life when a crypto price tumbles. That one took me a while to understand it, and when I see this description of HODL, I immediately thought about like a black woman screaming at this from a neighborhood, like very loud about it, because it feels like it's a phrase rather than just a slang. And then the other one that it took me also quite a while to understand was aping in, because I couldn't help to understand. For me, the idea of an ape, it's something that it's silly or something that is like really dumb or like really like slow. So when someone was saying, "Oh, I'm aping in," I was like, "But I just don't get it." So those were the ones that I actually took me a while, specifically the aping in one.
I mean, some of this is so yeah. It's definitely like layers of complexity, I guess, because some of this is also it's like industry language, but it's also very. I think it's very English centric, right? Like the language obviously itself is
Right.
got like layers of meaning that are probably unique to English speaking people first, which makes it's harder to access, right? Which means that even just a simple Twitter resource or thread like this is super useful. I mean, I bookmarked this thing and put it a whole bunch of different places because I think it's a great thing to point people to who are just getting into the space.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it's very English centric, and some of these are really hard to sort of translate into other languages because they are acronyms.
Hmm.
So only if the acronym only makes sense in English. That's simple. The one that for example, I think I didn't see it. It's this they have degen, but they don't have region. So that's one that, for example, I will add, or I will tell her to maybe add that one to the list. What other one do you think will is missing from here?
Oh man, I'd have to think hard. I mean, this is like really comprehensive, particularly for I don't know. I don't have anything written down that I could like say to add. I mean, I'm sure there's always ways that we can improve things, but I mean, even I'm scrolling through and thinking about your initial question. I think rugged is a hard one. Maybe pulling the rug out from underneath someone. I think that's probably has like import across languages and cultures, but rugged it doesn't, unless it could be easily mistaken for a lot of things. So like yeah, rug is a tough one. Shill, on the other hand, is like, I mean, there's some words that it's worth like identifying overlap, right? Shill, whale, I don't know. Maybe that's it. There's some crossover with, I'd say more like legacy financial space. Um, but let's see. I don't know if people are watching right now and have individual words, or like I put the link in the one Hype TV chat channel if people want to take a click on that and drop any questions in the chat, or any questions either about words, or maybe comments of, to answer Edu's question, if there are things you think that should be added, because I think this thread should like continue to live and be to be a living thread, right, that people can add
Right.
to and build out.
And then you feel there are some words that are like very crypto bros, like really related to like this very masculine vibe. It happens to me with
Mm.
alpha. The concept of an alpha, of an early investment advice or information that puts you ahead of the game. That sounds sorry. This is a very personal point of view. This is not a one hype point of view. The alpha one sounds like so macho centric, like this kind of, I don't know why that it vibes to me like that. But yeah, there are some concepts here, some lingo that feels very representative of certain kind of people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, actually the words like, so alpha and beta, I think, to my knowledge, in like the traditional investing space, which by the way, this is a direct crossover. So like alpha is, it's like it represents the performance of your money, right? Your portfolio. Whereas beta is like more about volatility. So it actually has nothing to do with superior and inferior. They're like, I don't know. I'd love to hear people know deeper expertise on this, but like I think they have some mathematical roots as far as my understanding, but I could be wrong there. And I understand how like these things can be misconstrued, because if you combine alpha with aping, and it's like it does take on this this hyper, masculine approach.
Yeah.
I think is referring. But then in her list, it's a mismatch. It's a mashup, I would say, in a good way, of a lot of stuff. It's got some of these like industry words, like pretty accessible,
Right.
but then also like slang lingo. But then when you get down to further in the thread, these are now like super technical terms. Like these are no longer slang. These are like very technical, whether it's immutable or interoperability, proof of stake. I mean, these are not. It's not incredibly deep, but there's definitely more. This is more technical than slang, I would say, right? But still really useful as a
Correct.
glossary. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the thing about, for example, she labeled them as level 2 terms. So you have immutable, interoperability, uh, ERC20, ERC721. So she actually explained this is level 2 terms. But if you go, for example, to a Wikipedia description of Ethereum or any coin, they will say that's one of the first concepts they will throw you at. This is a
Yeah.
token that
Yeah.
it's a ER. You know, so even if you are not on the capacity to be on the second level, if you want of expertise, they will still throw these concepts to you, like layer 2, proof of stake, proof of work. This is you know typical definition given to a token nowadays that is thrown everywhere. But actually, if I'm probably, if I run a test and ask a very good explanation of what a proof of stake or proof of work or whatever other concept, people will take a few minutes to actually answer correctly, because it's this thing that people, the good aspect of having a lingo is that you can always refer to it without actually knowing the concept. Does it make sense? That
Yeah.
you only
Absolutely.
need the context to use it. So yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, and I would say, just having scrolled through it now, it's like there's really only one. I think the layer 2, people would probably dispute this, I guess. But this goes back. I mean, it's funny. Like I don't think technically. Well, so Billy's here in the chat. Billy, and anybody else who has an opinion on this question, who's either with us in Discord or on YouTube, is Polygon an L2, or is it L1? Like, what is it? Right? It's right here. Yeah. See, I thought so. Yeah. So this is one of those where I would say like this is the only one I've scrolled through and been like, well, this is and I don't feel like this is a nitpicking thing. I think it's actually like it's a valuable distinction to make between Polygon and Arbitrum. Right?
Right.
They're not the same, and I think people would argue that only like Arbitrum or zk Syncs or Optimism are layer twos, and there's a security distinction here, and I think maybe some other time we could get Billy or others on to help clarify this for us. But
Sure.
I think it's a distinction worth making. But this is like, yeah, again, folks, there's a link to this in the One Hype TV channel, the chat channel, if you want to grab it and bookmark it and share it with other people.
And as Billy just said on One Hive chat, I imagine old people walking around with a printed version of this. I mean, I will be that old people walking around with a printed version of this. Because yeah, I will be that person, and it's like dictionary. When you go back to the dictionary just to check the spelling, it's something very similar with these acronyms, because I'm not a native English speaker, so I will probably walk in with a correct version of which is the order correct for the acronym. So yeah, and thanks David R. Allen for seeing us in everywhere. So do you have something else you want to comment on regarding this glossary?
Man, I think that's great, and it's awesome that you rolled this in today. It's a really cool resource.
All right, shall we move to Gitcoin, where the controversy lives?
Let's do it.
There's no controversy.
Hey, well, that's good. It's healthy controversy, right?
So last week we talked about a proposal that was passing at the moment we were talking about it, and was a Gitcoin proposal regarding a partnership and mutual grant with Wonder. And this was passing at the time we talked about it in the last stream, but it has not passed actually, and the vote flipped. And now this already end on the April the 15th, and the winning category was against, with 4.2 million GTC on it, 60% of it, and 2 million GTC for approval. So I had to take a little bit of research to see what changed on this, and there were many sources. You have the short versions and the longer versions. Which is really interesting is that on the Gitcoin forum, where they have the proposal up, there was a long discussion, and you can actually see huge delegates and or token holders changing their opinion across the discussion on the governance, or asking questions in order to be clarified. And there are, for example, there is a tweet from Absa.eth, who expressed and explained that he voted against the Wonder open quote mutual grant, and because he expressed a little bit here is that this particular proposal is, of course, not a seed investment, but a mutual grant. But if someone might look at a thing and not see the difference between two words describing an action, that it means we should not do the thing and not police ourselves on how to call it. He continues on saying that he does not oppose the idea that Gitcoin should do investments, because how it will treat it in U.S. law. He opposed in principle, because he is not very sure about Gitcoin governance being inappropriate for high risk, high rewards token swaps on projects that barely launch. He continues on saying that Wonder seems like a wonderful project, and he hopes them the best. But their token doesn't exist yet, and he is not on the private beta, so he cannot verify the project himself. And he ends finishing saying that he, of course, wants Gitcoin treasury to grow, and this deal may probably help with that. But he feels that it's not the appropriate method for such type of bet. So this is one of the short versions of why it was voted against. If we go to the forum, we have Griff explaining something that seemed very practical, and I really like his opinion. That says, because they were asking for 50K in Gitcoin tokens, and he says 50K GTC, it's a lot of money, more than most working groups get. And the conversation in this thread feels like trying to justify throwing money to our friends more than it feels like this is an awesome opportunity that we should go out on a limb to support. So I'm going to vote against. To help get discussion going, I reserve my right to change my opinion after the Stewards Council meeting. My biggest issue, he continues, is understanding if being part of this is in the scope of Gitcoin DAO. So yeah, so there was a bunch of discussion regarding if this is an investment, if they on their favor, Andros, who is the proposal of this, I guess he is on the representation of Wonder. He expressed that this is not an investment, but a partnerships like the one previously passed with Developer DAO and Prime DAO. And they have been their beta test has been tested by some users from Gitcoin, but it seems that a lot of the bigger stakeholders or token holders were not using it or were not testing it, so they were lacking kind of context. And of course, above all, is the fact that the token hasn't launched, so it feels like they were also this kind of nice point of view of someone above, that they express the idea that what is the difference on funding this than a grant, and why will Gitcoin sort of position themselves in validating a project that hasn't launched their tokens against other projects that probably have a grant on Gitcoin, and that they already have a token, but they have not aligned with Gitcoin in that sense. So it's very interesting to see also how someone's name or no, someone says that Gitcoin could be also a validation point for a project, and that it will incur on a risk by claiming that position. What do you think, Tables?
Yeah, it's highly interesting. I mean, this is again, folks, up on the Gitcoin forum, we dropped a couple links in the OneHive TV chat. I guess where it's clear that certain DAOs are now really trying to identify the scope of their resource allocation and how to define partnerships in a way that is coherent and makes sense. And yeah, I mean, I really appreciate you presenting this today and sort of helping us take a look at different sides of this, and people who are obviously relatively large token holders, how they in particular feel about the proposal. Yeah, on the developer side, perhaps there's some concerns there that obviously I don't have any insights on, but I can understand people would want to be resolved and or I guess clarified. But it'll be interesting to see how this continues to evolve. Now, on the snapshot, it obviously did. It did not pass. Do you get the sense that this is sort of a final decision, or is there something that is left for Wonder to continue to explore here?
I didn't see. They do not give an scenario in the case that it didn't pass. Um, at the end, Andros explained that he thanked everyone for their feedback. He also expressed that he really respects the Gitcoin community and that this is definitely a good example of DAO governance working. He expressed that they are the Wonder community, the Wonder DAO project, sorry, are very keen to work with their suggestions on more due process and creating a scroll contract for when their token is live. And they had assumed that the token swap will only happen when their token was live, but they will want to formalize that in the proposal to make it clear. And in the meantime, they are expecting or they are planning to work with the DAO tooling work group to use Wonder for setting up peer project bounties tasks so they can get some feedback as well. The last post was 3 days ago, which matches the time of the closing of the proposal. So I guess it seems that there is a hint that they will wait for the token to be launched in order and to wait for more testing also in order for make a new proposal. So we will see.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, and there was a very specific point that I wanted to read because I felt it was quite interesting. Because initially they changed the snapshot proposal because initially they were asking for 800K. And it's one of the points. Afsa, the tweet that we shared at the beginning, he went into the forum post to express like in a more deeper fashion. And he, for example, you're asking for 800K to be invested in a token that doesn't exist yet. We have no way to properly know how to define the market price of such token, and I don't think Bitcoin should be in such an early stage of buying pre-market tokens. I'm sure there is a white paper somewhere that defines how the token governance will work, but until you have it, live on mainnet. These are not guarantees. He also brings two other very interesting key points. The project page has no links to the working app. In fact, the only two links on the project page are one asking my phone number to be in the waitlist and another one join the Discord. Why are you collecting phone numbers and not addresses? And then the next point of him is it seems you have a private beta. I have seen some videos on YouTube of a working product, but I'm extremely skeptical of projects that I haven't used, as as there are tons of little details that make or break the experience. The fact that the project seems huge and complicated doesn't help my fears. Um, and the other one, no GitHub. Where is the project? Sure, maybe you want to have a limited amount of users in your private beta to not overload your servers with early success. But why can I fork and run it on my own? And then this was answered, by the way. This was answered, and they send them um, the link publicly of the repo of GitHub repo. They also apologize for having a landing page that is 6 months old and so on. But this is a great example that if you make a proposal, there will be people who will make their work and who will make their research, and you need to be ready for that. And in this case, I don't know if this delayed their timeline of launch, but I feel that it's not that they set a bad precedent with the Gitcoin community at all, but I feel it's interesting to see how you should arrive to a proposal like this, prepare if you are going to request a partnership with such a huge community as the Gitcoin one.
I agree, and I think that one of the parts of the response from the Wonder team that I sort of latched onto as I was listening to you read it was that this is a sign, I think, of the health of the governance of the Gitcoin ecosystem, more than sort of above and beyond everything here. Just exactly as you're saying, right? People are engaged, particularly with these larger DAOs, and as you said, it's good to see this sort of the expectations, perhaps, and not specifically to Gitcoin, but in general, right? You get the sense that there's going to be rigor and increasing rigor for funding proposals when it comes to DAOs in general, and I think that's a good thing for sure.
Yeah, we are reaching that point that it's not like, oh, I will just ask money and people will give it to me. This is not a GoFundMe kind of space. And I think that at the beginning it was like that, but then that's not. People are taking more serious, and now you have delegate. Now you have people who are actually being seen by other people, and you have roles to fulfill. And some delegates. I don't know how, for example, AFSA does it because he's also in ENS and he's very active there. There is a bunch of people who are active across a wide range of public good DAOs or DAOs in general, and they do their job, and they have this transparency label to that. And I feel that's, again, this justification, this open governance process that we are seeing, it's really healthy. And I like that Andros and the Wonder community took it in a very healthy way, in the same way community, like I didn't see any kind of you know um bad words expressed across, or even, like, for example, Afsa used red flags and Andros from Wonder was like, hey, nice, I won't use red flags, I will use green flags, for answering your comments. So it's a really nice positive vibe in the sense of how you can provide constructive governance out of these processes.
I think that's a really important observation at the end there too. Absolutely. The resolution of this was certainly professional.
Correct. And with that, do you want to pass to Abe?
Perfect. Let's do it.
So then we have governance framework for portals, and this is Aave proposal. And this proposal, it started on April the 14th and it ended yesterday, Sunday, April the 17th, and it passed with 63 K Aave with 99% approved and 1,268 votes on it. And this is a very simple, but at the same time, not very simple proposal. Basically, this proposal intends to create a standard framework for entities willing to be whitelisted by AVV3 to be a standard compliant candidate. This framework will allow entities to request credit lines to the Aave protocol on multiple networks to increase the liquidity efficiency while increasing protocol revenue by fee collection. They are talking specifically about portals. Are you familiar with portals?
I am not, but I learn new things every week and new projects.
So portals, it's like the first kind of description that they provide to portals is that it's a powerful AVV3 feature allowing to supercharge cross-chain bridges liquidity. And on the forum post, they actually explain this concept of portals, and they explain that this, going back to basics, AVV3 allows the Aave governance to whitelist entities to mint, open quote, temporary on-backed, close quote, A tokens by interacting with an Aave gateway contract. And one of the main applications of this asset, meaning the portals asset, is the teleportation by collecting A tokens on one network to mint an equivalent amount on another chain. And settlements of multiple users' teleports is done async by ports using official cross-chain bridges to settle credit lines. Portals are not a user-oriented feature. It's a toolbox. It's a toolbox that ports can integrate into their own architecture to act, for example, as a liquidity failsafe in case their router lack liquidity and increase their reach and liquidity efficiency. A port is thus an AVV3 portals integration, but a third-party app allowing cross-chain asset teleportations on two or more network. At the beginning, it felt really complex to me. I won't lie to you, Tidwells. So basically, it's a feature, and it's a very interesting one. I think it's from the things I have seen from Aave. This one, it's the one that caught my attention the most, as it seems to be. And you can correct me on this, Tidwells, and any or to anyone who knows more than I do about this. But it seems like a kind of an evolution to the concept of a bridge. But yeah, what do you think, Tidwells?
Yeah, that it seems it sounds every bit like to me that this is some type of cross-chain, asset transfer solution, and this is about where my knowledge ends here. Like I've been listening to you, checking it out here. People can take a look. We'll make sure we drop a link to the forum post in particular in One Hive TV channel, and also drop it on YouTube as well. But this is something where I definitely think we could get some. There it is. Awesome. Get some input from folks that understand this at a technical level. But from the name portals and your description here, it does seem as though this is like a cross-chain asset transfer built into Aave. Would that be a fair characterization, you think, Edward?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And yeah, what is interesting is also the fact that they explicitly said it's not a user-oriented feature. So it's more about protocols trying to make use of this feature.
Interesting, this
So
architecture.
Yeah, correct. So basically, they are providing a governance framework for this asset. I have not seen many. If I abstract from this, I have not seen many. I guess it's like Gnosis Safe. That I don't know if you're familiar. We're gonna touch this time, but Gnosis Safe, it's launching their own token. So it seems like this, like a very interesting asset that became so powerful or like a standalone product that you need to sort of branch it out. Do you agree with this assessment?
Yeah, say the last part one more time. Sorry.
So basically, no, it's okay. They are proposing a governance framework for this asset,
Right.
and
Okay.
this reminds me of a little bit of what Gnosis did with their Safe. They are launching their Safe token,
I see.
and they are branching out the Safe product, sort of. So the product, the Safe product, will have their own governance kind of framework. So the portal thing of Avis seems like a similar approach in a different level because they are not launching a token, but it seems like a similar approach to say, hey, this is something very, very powerful for us, a product that it seems to be really strong. So we will provide, because it's not normal that you have an asset given a governance framework, I believe, at least on my knowledge.
Mm. Yeah, no, that makes sense then. Hearing you explain it back, I think that does make. I mean, it makes sense to me. I think the operation of the tool obviously is more technical, but yeah, the conceptual overlap there, I think, makes sense with other other projects that we've seen, such as Gnosis Safe. And on the forum post, just one other note here: if you're looking at the forum post, folks, it does provide a nice graphic and a italicized description of, I think, how this is supposed to work at a high level. And so you can check that out if you're interested. Obviously, the integration of Connext is interesting, but it seems as though this is a feature that's actually been around for a bit here. Is that correct? And then this is just sort of the governance aspect of the tool that's already in existence, right?
Correct. It seems like that.
Yeah.
And as Billy says, AVV3 is promoting this feature only on sidechains. Thank you for that, Billy. Shall we move to Olympus?
Absolutely. And while we're moving over to Olympus, I just want to remind folks to make sure you hop over to YouTube. I'll drop the link in the One Hive TV chat channel. So you want to make sure that you are watching on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Follow the live stream, because when we come to the end of this segment, we're going to do a quick multiple choice question. And those of you who retweeted and commented on Twitter are going to get a chance to win some honey. So just get in position there for the next couple minutes. But let's take it away with Olympus, Edu.
Thank you. And I want to mention Alex P on our Discord. You have a very nice profile photo, and I was just wondering if that is a dog with French fries on as a hat. If that is a dog with French fries as a hat, please comment on One Hive TV text channel. I just want to know if you have the time. So we have Olympus. Olympus, this is OEP 92, whitelist Faye as a treasury reserve asset. We have seen Faye quite often around in the past weeks, and it seems that they are going hard with Olympus. This proposal started on April the 17th, and it ends in 2 days, April the 20th. And they expressed that basically the treasury team has been exploring and evaluating multiple options for the next reserve asset and have reached the conclusion that Faye is the best candidate at this time. Specifically, one of the treasury team's objectives is to ensure that OM's backing favor decentralized and censorship-resistant assets. Faye's protocol approach to issuing the Faye stablecoin aligns with our objective, given it is backed by a centralized asset. As mentioned above, Faye intends to diversify this backing further in order to make it less correlated to the price of ETH. Basically, the treasury team proposes to whitelist Faye stablecoin as an asset for the Olympus treasury. Our exposure will be capped to a maximum of 10% of Faye circulating supply. Remember when we talked about Faye a few weeks ago?
I do, yes. This is a great follow-up.
Correct. And the idea about Faye is that if you go to their Twitter, to at Faye Protocol, on Twitter, that's their name, they have all the latest retweets is all about Olympus, and they have a bunch. They have a bunch of stuff. Which is interesting here is that the latest tweet that they retweet about Olympus DAO, they say that Olympus is a tweet from Olympus DAO that says Olympus is honored to be on the initial whitelist for Freight Protocol's Tribe Turbo launch alongside Balancer Labs. So what is interesting here is that Faye has already whitelisted Olympus. So it seems that the matching times are not the same. So Olympus is still yet to whitelist Faye. It would be just out of curiosity, nice to know what will happen if Faye doesn't pass on the Olympus side. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no. Well, how much longer do they have on the prop here?
They have 2 days.
2 days. Okay. And right now it seems like I don't know what the quorum is, obviously, but they got decent support in favor. 52K.
Yeah. I think it will pass. But what is interesting, yes, is this kind of async situation. And they have a bunch of the latest tweets. It's about Tribe Turbo, which has Tribe. It's the name of their token, their governance token. I'm still don't know what is Tribe Turbo, because they have a bunch of links to that, and I didn't have time to research that. But they seems to be going strong with Olympus DAO, because that's what they have been tweeting in the past 5 days about. So we will see how this goes, and how the Faye protocol goes. I think we talked about it the few weeks ago, because there was this tweet. I think it was about Faye protocol regarding the creator of the Faye protocol and how he explained his situation launching the token and so on. So yeah, we will see.
Right on, man. Yeah, I do. I know that this is something we've been following in here, and if people have any comments or questions about, in particular, Faye or insights on this partnership, feel free to drop them in the chat there. I was looking at Faye a little bit earlier in the year, particularly when they were doing some partnership with Shapeshift DAO, and so they're definitely active in the space here. And I think if those of you who are also still active in Olympus, or even if you're not, one of the comments we've made recently is, you look at the price chart, and it may not look all that great historically. You sort of had a massive run up, but there's still a lot of activity at the governance level. So people are still building around that protocol for sure, which is great to see, in my opinion. Right?
Correct. So we can move to Pancake Swap, and let's play a game.
We go into Snapshot first, or you want to go over to their?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Snapshot first. So the game will be pick your favorite title for a snapshot proposal on Pancake Swap Snapshot. They have like a wide range of spam proposals. One called "Just Be Patient and Wait Cake to the Universe." They have another one.
Cake for Mom. What was it? Yeah, raising money for
Mom.
Okay.
Yeah, raising money for mom. I'm not gonna laugh about it in case it is real.
Yes.
There's another one said, "Can I have some cake?" And this one, if you go to the description, it says, I put half income every month to buy cake, about 250, but until now I only got 200 cake only. Can anyone give me some help to me? My target is to reach 1,000 cake before June, and I will hold it until I reach 50 and above. Cake to the moon. So yeah, you have some very funny, there are even ones that I don't know if they are for real or for not. I don't know if Tipsy it's a token. I guess it is because I saw it in somewhere that it's a token. But the name of the proposal is "Stay Cake, Earn Tipsy." That sounds like when they tell you to eat something before getting drunk, kind of thing.
It sounds like a great degen staking opportunity.
Yeah. So for me, when I read this, I was like, you like, there is no way you make this unconsciously. There is no way you make that title unconsciously. Anyways,
Right.
there is a bunch of other snapshot proposals here that are funny to read, or their name is interesting. But the point of this is not to make fun of PancakeSwap, because actually, um, I was the one being silly, because they actually have a different space for proposal that is not a snapshot. So all this time that I have been ranting about PancakeSwap snapshot, they were actually doing governance in another space. So that doesn't count. They seem to have their own space for proposals that is on their own domain, pancakeswap.finance/voting. And if you go there, it's a very nice interface. I will say better than the one in Snapshot. And if you go to the category closed, because there's nothing open at the moment, but if you go to the category closed, you will see all the proposals and two labels: the label core and the label community. And on there you can see which, actually, if you go to the snapshot, you will see uh there is a resharing kind of functionality, and the core ones shows up on the side of the snapshot. But for whatever good reason, there is no way around. So the spam ones that are posted on a snapshot are not being shown on this platform. So that's a win on their side. It seems that they have sort of filtered it out, at least on their own platform, which I think at the end of the day is what counts, because that's your space. Um, so yeah, what do you think about this approach to civil resistance, or what it seems to be an approach to civil resistance?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, so this has been their interface. It's built into their DApp, right? Um, which I think makes total sense. I mean, this is actually, I guess, a larger question that a lot of DAOs are asking. Like, Boardroom helps to aggregate everything from Snapshot, perhaps. But having a way for people who are already using your DApp and have your token, the governance token in their wallet, they don't have to leave the DApp in order to participate and know what's going on. I think that also makes total sense, right? But it sounds like that Snapshot is in fact synced with this, but it's not really like curated. Is that fair?
Correct. Correct. A snapshot doesn't seem to be graded. You're right.
It's like forked it away. It looks like here, essentially the Snapshot front end.
Yeah.
It's their range essentially the same, right?
Yeah, but it seems pretty. And you can classify based on tags, which is something in Snapchat. I don't know. I'm not gonna rant about. I'm not gonna go against Snapchat. It's just that I don't see many changes in the platform, um, and not much functionality within the space for every DAO. And this platform that these folks are using, PancakeSwap, seems to add these layers of functionality that I highly appreciate.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the other tools, it reminds me, it's really it's a little tangential to PancakeSwap, but if you're also interested in following governance at like a macro level, so on screen, if you're watching on YouTube or you're listening here on Discord, obviously we're talking about PancakeSwap, but Mizari Crypto has a really great proposal tracker. I've actually been meaning to chat a little more about that on stream. We talked about it before, Edu, but if you go to Mizari.io, if you're on YouTube right now, you can sort of see it on screen. I'll drop a link to it in the One Hype TV chat channel as well. But in terms of a great looking front end and the ability to filter and track stuff across the DAOverse, Mizari Crypto's got a great free tool there. Edu, can you hear me? You want to hit up what is the final one here was Decentraland? Is that correct?
Yes, sorry, I was muted and I was talking to myself.
Happens to me all the time.
I was saying to end the PancakeSwap thing, that I wish Snapshot sort of take this approach and upgrade a little bit more their space and the platforms they are using, because
Yep.
it will be highly appreciated to have more functionalities on the Snapshot side.
I think then they raised like 40 mil or something last year. They got to be coming out with some serious upgrades or some new integrations in the future.
I hope.
We shall see.
I I actually hope. So the last one, as you mentioned, is the Decentraland, and there is a bunch of proposals. The community seemed to being very active on the past week, and there is another one. There is another bunch of interesting and curious proposals. The one that I have for today, it's shall we have the option to upload profile pictures, PFP, and social contract details to the central land names? Um, which the name, the name says itself, but in case anyone needs explanation, they express that since they are pioneering Web3, they are a pioneering Web3 metaverse platform. They feel that they should be able to have the option to upload their profile pics to the Central names, NFTs. And currently, the Central marketplace displays all the names in gray background with white text, and OpenSea displays the names in color background with white text. Not only this simple yet effective option will help highlight and distinguish one name from another, but also make it more fun while adding further utility and awareness. Another key aspect will be to have social media contact details similar to what ENS currently has. And I feel this will make it easier to find out who owns that certain NFT, thus making it easier to get in contact with for collaborations, negotiations, and so on. This proposal ends on the 21, and it has so far 100 approval. It only has 22 voters. It's nice to count that. But they have other proposals also in the forum. They have the uncensored library in the central one. They express that um, they are requesting 60,000 USD, 6-month vesting is the category for this, and they are explaining that this project will bring the uncensored library into the central land, which can potentially make waves in showcasing this social utility and metaverse space, such as the central land can bring to the market. The uncensored library in the central land will serve as a beacon of hope for anyone who wants to advocate for freedom of the press and will encourage a sense of social support, which movement of this nature requires to thrive. Through a united effort between Reporters Without Borders, DDB, Berlin, Metaverse Architects, the Metaverse Group, Tokens.com, Blogworks, and MediaMonks, this project will continue to support the freedom of the press by broadening its horizon and expanding its utility into the central lands. This is a grant request, by the way. The grant request is for 60K, as I mentioned before. And do you know about the censored library? Just to start.
I've heard of it before. Is this? I know this sounds weird, but like one of these types of projects for uncensored, like global information, is actually built like on Minecraft. I encountered
Correct.
this before. Is this the same one? This is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same one. Yeah. The idea is that the same people have that, but on the central land.
I mean, the overlap is pretty dope, right? I mean, it makes total sense that you would take something like that onto on chain.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated.
And they, for example, for example say Reporters Without Borders will be able to actively lower the barriers to entry for censored citizens to access politically critical information while further empowering censored journalists by widening their potential audience. So yeah, it's a very interesting approach to central. I feel like it's most of the proposals that I see sometimes in the central lands seems like funny or seems like a game itself, but this one seems one of the serious ones kind of proposals.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we were looking at Decentraland in the past, and we saw some similar proposals, but they really didn't reflect either like background credentials or the detail
Right.
of this type of proposal. So they were actually rejected, right? And in this case, I also think that Decentraland does have they have like their own separate governance interface, kind of like PancakeSwap, but it's cool to see this coming up here, and 60K is a nice seed grant. It's not anything enormous, and it'll be really cool to see this take shape for sure. I hope to actually maybe we could follow this story in maybe one episode. If once it gets built, we could we could try to preview it on the live stream or something. It'd be fun.
Sure. And then the last one that I found interesting is that should the DAO, the Centerland DAO, claims its ENS token. And they express that it does not appear that the DAO has claimed the ENS tokens for holding the DCL.ETH, and as such, there may be a significant amount of value that can be recognized by the Centerland DAO. The ENS token claim window is set to close to May the 3rd, 2022, so this is a time-sensitive action. So far, this is going to close in 2 days. So far, in this April the 20th, and it's passing 100%. 5.6 million tokens as spent to vote on this. And this raises the question. I guess there's still people out there, or there are organizations out there that still doesn't claim their ENS token, by the way. And what it caught me at my attention is that I met with a colleague last week, and he said like, oh, I delegate my tokens to, and I'm talking about someone who not so much now, but was a huge crypto user back in the day. He was the first in using all of these tools, and like he was a huge user of crypto 2, 3, 4 years ago, and he had ENS since its creation. And he was like, yeah, I claim I delegated tokens, but that's it. And I'm like, what do you mean with that's it? And he's like, yeah, because I have no tokens. I didn't see any token. And it seems like he's not aware that the tokens are in his wallet. You know what I mean? Um, so I guess it not only happens to him, but also happens to the Central Land in a way that I mean, of course they are aware, but they just didn't claim their tokens.
Yeah, it's interesting. In this case, obviously, I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning might be, if there is, other than just either not being aware or like technically knowledgeable about how to do it, which seems doubtful in this case. But I do think that there is, what this brought to mind for me is the fact that, in the U.S. at least, I'm not sure about elsewhere, but in the U.S., let's take the ENS airdrop as an example. Technically, when you claim those tokens, right, and then they arrive in your wallet, you're taking essentially, you're taking control of them as your legal property, and so that is a taxable event, right? So essentially, if you get an airdrop before the token goes live, and it's technically valueless, then this seems like a gray area, and then you would just calculate gains from zero when you sell it and you pay cap gains. But it's different. The airdrop, like right now, if someone had not claimed their ENS airdrop and they live in the United States, technically, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a tax advisor, but my understanding and the way that informs my own, tax reporting that has recently happened, God save us all, is that if you claim the ENS airdrop right now, you would need to calculate the fair market value, right? So you'd need to go and look at the trading, the current price of ENS and multiply it times the number of tokens you're claiming, and then pay tax on that. And then if it goes up, if you hold it and you sell it in the future at a gain, then guess what? You owe the feds another round of taxes on your cap gain. So I don't know if this is the reason, but I would say it's like, if you hadn't claimed them yet, you think about this aspect, at least if they're in the U.S. Not to say you shouldn't claim them, but it is an aspect that, like, I know is a thing for some people when it comes to this, what seems like otherwise a pretty benign free money moment.
So you are recommending us to stay poor to avoid taxes?
No, definitely not. I'm telling you if you're living in the U.S., how to avoid, some serious auditing pain, perhaps. Like, I don't know. This is not intended to be fun. It's intended to be more sort of like perhaps educating at least people in the U.S. To do your own research on this. But yeah, sucks. But
I will send you a tweet of someone that I do not can recap now. What is his name on Twitter? He posted a thread on how he actively spend. He has an accountant, so like he sends. I don't know if it is real or not. But he claimed on his tweet that you can send your taxes by paper, not necessarily online, and he does it manually, and he sends mountains of paper just to make the tax office, whatever it is, to make this manually. and he puts them in a like in an organization level that happens that the first one they have to read is the last one, so they have to go through all the other ones first in order to check the first one. Like
Wow.
it's a chaotic thing, but he expressed that he just wanted to make them spend as much resources and time as silly he feels by doing so. Anyways,
Man,
moving on.
it's really not clear, and I know that there are people who, again, speaking for folks in the U.S., it's different everywhere. But I know folks, it's really hard to find a tax advisor that actually knows like what they're talking about. Like, and in some cases, there was a tweet from some folks. I won't name names here, but there's also a tweet recently where someone had essentially handed over, had worked with someone who is intended to be their tax advisor and shared some relatively sensitive information with them, et cetera, et cetera. And then they just like ghosted them a week before when the taxes were due. So like, yeah, there's this, I don't know, it's definitely tough. And, keep your eyes out. If people have any specific insights on like, taxes and how to handle these things, or links, or even people that you think are really knowledgeable about this sort of stuff, please don't hesitate to drop stuff in the One Hype TV chat channel here in the Discord. It'd be really valuable for everybody to be able to share that info, right?
There
Yeah.
should be a DAO, a tax DAO focused on helping people to do taxes. Tax DAO. There you go. If
No,
you
I hear
have
you.
if you want a golden unicorn idea, I just throw you one. All right.
I love it.
That's it for me today.
Yeah, I know you got to head out, my friend. It's always good to hear the news at the beginning of the week, Edu.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks everyone for staying tuned today. And looking forward to see you next Monday. Take care.
Take care, my man. Okay, so thank you, Edu. Everybody, we're gonna do the trivia now. We're gonna see who's gonna maybe win some crypto. So, anybody can participate in this, but only the folks who retweeted and commented will have a chance to actually win the crypto today. So we're going to do this on a regular basis, and of course, this is referring to the tweet. I tweeted with a quote for the One Hive announcement today. So this is what we're going to do. I need everybody to go, if you want to participate in the trivia, you need to head over to our YouTube. And so if you don't know the link, go up to the One Hive TV channel here in the server, and you want to click on the 1HTV link there, or simply open YouTube and type in 1HTV. It should be the first channel that comes up. This is a relatively new channel. We had to shift over to something new in order to do this streaming there. But the reason I'm asking you to go over there now is because I am going to put up on screen in just a second a screenshot of the game that we're going to play. And it's just going to be one quick question, and we'll do another one at the end of the next hour. But it will be about something that we talked about, we heard about in the first hour today. And the winner is going to receive honey. Okay, so we'll do this one step at a time. Well, I'll tell you what, give me 30 seconds here. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to put up the wait screen here for just a second, and I'm going to get the question ready, and then I'm going to change the screen again. So everybody just sit tight for a second, and we're going to do this quick multiple choice. Have a little fun here at the end of this first hour, and then we're going to have a quick break, and we'll get our guests on from Popcorn DAO for the second hour. So stick around. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, everybody, here we go. So, if you are watching on YouTube, you can see the Kahoot screen. The easiest way to do this is to take out your phone and go to kahoot.it. You can see the instructions there in the upper left-hand corner. You don't need to download anything. You don't need to do anything other than open your web browser on your phone. Go to K-H-O-O-T, kahoot.it. And it's going to ask you for the game pin. And you just type that in and add your username that you have here on Discord. Or rather, excuse me, let me clarify this. The username you should join with is the username or your handle on Twitter. Okay? Because that's the only way that we're going to be able to match this up with the folks that have, in fact, retweeted and commented. So let's take 10 seconds here. Again, head over to YouTube. You should be able to see the Kahoot on screen there. And so you just want to open your phone, go to kahoot.it, put in the game pin, put in your Twitter handle. Again, folks, here, I know there's a couple steps, but if you played trivia with us before, you know how this goes down. And put in your Twitter handle if you want a chance to win some honey. So I'm going to give it again about 30 seconds here. Give everybody a chance to head over to 1HTV. It is 1Hive TV, but 1HTV on YouTube. Check out the live screen. Join us here. I can see that Rohak and Billy are already with us. And we're going to do the question in just about 30 seconds. We'll take a break, and we'll head into the second hour. All right, Jim, to Miguel, and to Livy, you see it's going to be a small game here, but you know what? We're going to give it another 30 seconds, see if anybody else can make their way over there. Got a lot of folks here in the Discord. If anybody's here to want to win some honey, want to win some free crypto, got to follow those directions. Head over to the 1HTV Discord. Got about 10 seconds until we're going to get this question underway. While we're waiting here, I will say that Rohak again is with us as always each week, and he is distributing the POAP for today's event. To those of you who we know are real peoples and are folks that are continuing to join us each Monday, I appreciate Rohak for that. He's doing an awesome job with design, and it's really helped to make this show possible. So again, Jim and everybody here in the Discord, if you have been with us for the first hour, Edu just left. Of course, he's with us and joins us at 11 a.m. every Monday to talk about news from around the DAO space. At the end of the hour, we're trying something new today over on YouTube. We're getting up a quick multiple choice question to win some free honey. So we're going to go ahead and do this right now. And those who have joined have a chance to win some honey. The question for today, I'm going to put up on screen in just a second. And if you're new, I'll give one last note as an explainer for how to use this tool. If you're on your phone, right, as soon as I click start, you're going to see the question is going to be on screen. It's going to be on the YouTube stream. Okay, so you're going to see the question on YouTube, and you'll be able to buzz in the correct answer on your phone. So the phone is like a buzzer. The phone is the little device that you can answer with. Okay, it is color coded. We got one question here that has to do with a big story that Edu shared in the first hour. Then we're going to welcome our guests from Popcorn, and we're going to do the same thing at the end of the second hour. So here we go with the first question. Everybody who's on here, welcome. First question. What project proposed a partnership with Gitcoin worth around $500,000? It was, in fact, a token swap. We talked about this for, I don't know, about good 10 minutes in the first half of today's broadcast. Is it Polygon? Is it Bright ID? Is it Wonder? Or is it Phase? And you got about 5 seconds remaining. Correct answer, of course, was Wonder here. Looks like we had a distractor. But let's see who won today's very first trivia on the live stream. and we shall see. Only the winner is going to get free honey today, but we got with the only winning answer in today's event. We got David Allen. Welcome, David, GM, my man. It was, in fact, Wonder, an interesting, I wouldn't say controversy, but an interesting development in DAO governance there, and we talked about today. So again, congratulations to David. We will send you some honey, sir. If you would DM me your wallet address and make sure you got I know you have the RPC on Gnosis chain. We will send you some honey today. GM David Allen. All right, and let me go ahead and welcome to the stage here, Real Misha from Popcorn DAO. I'm going to send an invite for you to come join me on the stage, friend. Hello, hello. How's it going? Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, man. Pleasure to be here. I'm going to take a screenshot of this and share it on my LinkedIn if that's okay. Just give me 1 second.
Of course, of course. And we do have some on-screen assets that we're showing on the live stream on YouTube. So feel free to drop me any links in a DM if you want me to like toss something up on screen. I can do that easy.
All right, give me 1 second. Might as well send you the app. Launched Butter, which I'll go into in a bit.
Sweet, man. Yeah, I saw that. I had a chance to visit the DApp. Very cool.
I'm ready to rock, though. Let's go.
All right, let's do it, man. Excellent. Well, I would like to just hear your background story, man. I know you're a co-founder of Popcorn DAO here, but what's your story? How'd you get into crypto, and how did your road lead you to Popcorn?
Yeah, so where do I start? I guess I'll start from the beginning. So I come from traditional finance. I used to work at Credit Suisse in private banking, switched over to big tech at SAP and worked in digital strategy. And like a lot of us in the space, in 2016, I had read the Ethereum white paper and was actually introduced Bitcoin in 2011, 2012. And I remember at the time I was doing my master's in economics and finance, and I didn't read what I needed to read, and I completely dismissed it. And then when I found Ethereum in 2016, the way I first understood it was this programmable blockchain, or this Bitcoin that you could issue tokens off of and create token economies. That's literally how I understood it. Several months later, I wrote my own white paper, more so in support of my previous business partner, who was an attorney for a large firm that was representing some pretty despicable people in the pharma space, i.e. Sackler family. So he had an existential crisis. He was a really good friend of mine from college, and we both invested in Ethereum quite early, and we realized that we needed to build on it. We needed to figure out what it is that actually we invested in, like, more so, and we thought the best way of doing that was starting something. And so at that time, I would say, like, we were in a good position to leave our jobs and proceed with this idea that he had, which was this DAO, or this DAO for accelerating drug discovery, but also a new way of funding and licensing bio R&D. So we took a look at this pharma space, and we saw how inefficient it was in terms of the amount of money that pharma was pumping into drug discovery and how long it took, the monopoly that pharma had on drugs in general. And my partner, he just knew a whole lot about getting certain drugs past phase 1 or phase 2 without even going to phase 1, phase 2. And I don't want to go into the weeds of pharma too much, but basically, just in general, accelerating drug discovery. And ultimately, we ended up contributing to the NFT before the NFT, the ERC 1155, which fractionalized intellectual property ownership of anything basically on chain. And we created the first DAO that was for the purpose of the scientific community, or for the scientific community to accelerate drug discovery. And I think there's another project that sort of carried or took the baton after, called DAO, which they're doing some pretty interesting things.
Yeah.
But anyways, I worked on that project for 3 years, and it was a great learning experience. Ultimately, DeFi summer happened, and I was a very early farmer of some of the blue chip DeFi protocols out there.
Nice.
And so I actually, by the end of 2020, thought that I wanted to get out of crypto because it was too much for me. I wanted to move to Miami, and I actually got a job for this company called Reef Technology that buys parking lots and turns them into like ghost kitchens. Basically, that's what it seems like they're doing right now.
Oh, word.
So my friend was a creative. Yeah, my friend was a creative director right there, and he helped me get the job. But at the same time, I was proposed this idea of essentially a yearn for good, or that's when I read the white paper that Anthony, my partner and founder, Popcorn, had sent to me. That's the way I understood it. So essentially using like the DeFi sorcery, let's call it, and applying it to also creating positive global impact at the same time. And I thought that idea was a big idea. I think it was like in the same vein as my last project as well. So definitely like very disruptive, however difficult and naive in terms of building the tech out. I just thought it was a great idea, but also at the same time, this was like in the middle of the bull run in early 2021, and I knew a lot of venture capital or a lot of investors out there were just looking for like the next 100, to 1,000x or whatever. But I had accumulated quite a substantial network over the years in the VC space, as well as just like in the Ethereum ecosystem. So anyways, we had raised an early round pretty fast, put together a team, participated in some hackathons, in the Chainlink hackathon, ETH Global, and we did another round, and then we launched a token at the end of the year. And we're a pretty lean team right now, but we're very much on our way in what we set out to do in early 2021.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, I can see the yearn for good as an inspiration here. And can you dig in a little more about the sort of the for good side? Like how do you envision, well, how did you envision, and then maybe how things are panning out now in terms of the flow of yield or capital or to good causes? I mean, how does that component work? Can you share a little more on that?
Yeah, and just to give you a bit more context, I mean, the pitch really is, Popcorn is an on-chain wealth manager that offers exposure to products and asset strategies built in-house that can earn yield on your crypto assets, but also donate to charities, community-selected charities, at the same time at no additional cost. So we make it super simple for you to deposit your crypto, optimize your yield, and create impact by donating to those charities that Popcorn DAO selects. And as a POP token holder, you're required to stake it and then participate in our beneficiary governance and grant elections. So it's very much the community that decides on which organizations we donate our earned protocol fees to. So in the next couple months, the governance aspect of Popcorn, which I think is really the novel product that we're building, because on the DeFi side, it's very much, for example, our first product, Buttery, is a yield optimizer, and we use Curve and Yearn and infrastructure. So we make it a lot easier and cheaper for anyone that wants exposure to a diversified basket of stablecoins to earn yield via like automated yield farming on Yearn for those Curve LP tokens. But so that's the DeFi side, and then you'll be able to vote on the beneficiaries going forward, and you'll even be incentivized to do so with Pop rewards. So there is if you read the white paper, really early on, I think we were one of the first to like borrow the Curve Vnomic or vote escrow model, apply it to the beneficiary, the philanthropy side of what we're doing. And actually, we didn't really talk about what we could do in terms of directing emissions or voting on emissions for products that we release as well, and so that's part of the roadmap as well. So it's all essentially being rolled out right now.
Very cool. Can we dig into the governance side just for a second? So, if you're a POP holder, you need to stake those tokens in order to gain access to the governance to participate. Is that correct?
That's ultimately the plan right now. Since we're still building out the governance the governance piece of it, we do we submit all of our votes and proposals on Snapshot. Actually, we start in forum, and then if there's essentially community approval or good sentiment, then we push it into Snapshot, and then we obliged the outcome of the vote.
And are you saying that sort of the intention is to you're building out an in-house governance component that maybe will be a part of the DApp, or how do you think that that'll end up presenting?
Yeah, exactly. So you'll need to stake the POP token or lock the POP token in order to participate in the governance.
Okay, very good. And so the DAO itself will direct a portion. Now, is this a portion of POP emissions, or I'm trying to circle back then to like the question of I understand the DAO and voters will choose projects, or I assume any do-good organization, like they'll identify, evaluate, and then direct certain revenue to them, or a certain portion of funds. But are those funds going to be in the POP token, or is this like a different sort of arrangement for flows to philanthropic organizations?
Yeah, good question. So the infrastructure is such that the earned protocol fees flow into a rewards contract, which then distributes the funds through a community vote.
Nice.
So the POP tokens you'll need to lock them in order to participate in the nomination for the beneficiary, as well as the grant election. And that's, actually, if you take a look at like what we're doing comparatively to the rest of the the DeFi primitives and protocols out there, that's the novel piece of Popcorn. The fact that we can do this, and we essentially have minimized or try to minimize the amount of friction that it would take to actually donate fees. So the products and the APYs that the interest that you're earning on your crypto assets on Popcorn, none of that is sacrificed. It's the fees that you would typically pay, let's say on Yearn or Curve, and what we do is we just direct a portion of those to the rewards contract, as well as to the stakers, to our treasury, and to carbon offsets as well.
I got it. Okay, so this is all coming out of the fee structure here. Very cool. Exactly. You mind if could we hop over to the DApp now and chat a little bit about what people can find?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
How do we do this?
Well, so I'll get it up on screen here, and for everybody who's listening, popcorn.network, okay, is what's going to take you to the homepage. You can find the white paper and all those good details. Popcorn.finance, you can access it from the original homepage, but if you want to type it straight in, folks, popcorn.finance is where you'll find what you see on screen right now. So I got it up here. Would you want to start? Is there Butter, staking? Is there some place you'd like to start? Maybe give it like a short explainer of the DApp here.
Sure. I'll walk through everything. So it's actually Popcorn DAO, popcorn DAO.finance.
Ah, yes. My bad.
Yeah. So I hope you're looking at the right thing, but you mentioned Butter, so I'm assuming you are.
Yes, you're right, man. Popcorn DAO.finance.
So it's a pretty simple, sleek interface. This is the Popcorn app, the debut app that we launched about a month ago, and right now the functionality includes depositing your stable coins into Butter, and also staking the POP tokens to earn the POP rewards, as well as staking your G-Uni and Sushi LP tokens to earn POP rewards. You can also stake the Butter LP token as well to earn rewards on that. So we're very much, every asset on here right now you can earn POP rewards given the liquidity mining, and also like linear decay and emissions that we've set up. So I guess I'll just start with Butter first. If you click on Butter, Butter is our yield optimizer, and it allows you to earn on multiple stable coins at once. So what that means is that you can, so if you connect in the top, in the upper right corner, you will be able to deposit your 3CRV, DAI, USDT, or USDC into Butter to mint Butter. And what that offers exposure to is a basket of 4 yield-bearing stablecoins, one or Frax, RAI, MStable, or MUSD, and ALUSD by Alchemix are in the underlying right now. And what basically is happening is that we take your liquidity, swap it into the Curve liquidity pools for those LP tokens, and then direct it to Yearn into automated yield farming for those stable coins, which offer pretty competitive APY. And typically what you would do manually, we do this all for you. And the cost of doing it manually is quite high, in hundreds, perhaps even thousands of dollars. Well, actually, it hasn't really been that much, but depends on the day in which you're using Ethereum, I guess, and for congestion and whatnot. So it's a really cool product. You can then mint Butter after you deposit your stable coins, and then you can actually go to staking and then stake your Butter token. So if you take a look at each of the staking products on here, so there's POP, there's GUNI for USDC POP LP tokens, and then there's Butter, and this is on Ethereum. So we're actually live on 4 chains, but Ethereum and Polygon are the 2 where you can access POP, buy POP, and stake those tokens, as well as, so GUNI is on Ethereum, and then Sushi is on Polygon. So you can earn quite high rewards right now. It was really high in the beginning, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, but it's tapering off right now. So now is the time to get in if you do want to earn those yields. So we have a dashboard. I'm going to connect to it right now.
Yeah, I'm showing on screen here. And so Mainnet and Polygon are the 2, right? I was going to ask, because you can see the other in the menu there. You think you're going to Arbitrum next soon?
Actually, we have tokens on Arbitrum and tokens on BNB chain.
No word.
So we're chain agnostic. I think, like, at this point in time, if you are building a product or a primitive, like we are, especially in the DeFi space, we're very much in a multi-chain world right now. And so for us, our priority right now, or one of our priorities, is to increase TVL. The more TVL we have, the more we'll be able to extract from our streaming fee and then be able to donate to our charities. So if there is or if there's better yield on, let's say, Phantom or Avalanche, which we're looking closely to launching on perhaps very soon, but it's better for not only the protocol but for our users, as we can create these products and asset strategies that can optimize your yield. So we're essentially in the game of chasing yield. And I guess going back to Butter, the cool thing about Butter is that it's a product that chases yield for you. You can just deposit your crypto, your stable coins, and earn income passively. So on certain days, those stable coins are earning quite high rewards depending on the market. Sometimes it's low, sometimes it's in the middle, but you really don't have to worry about it because we're doing it for you. And then also, I think the main sort of narrative that we try to pitch is that this is a way for you to do good while doing well. And you don't really have to do anything beyond just depositing your crypto unless you want to be active in our community and steer or help steer, which way we want to create positive global impact.
Yeah, I dig that a lot, man. You're sort of minimizing, or you're removing any friction for folks that just want to be involved. And if people wanted to join the Popcorn DAO or to sort of get active here, obviously they could join y'all's Discord. And we'll try to maybe drop a link to that in the One Hive TV channel, folks, as well as on YouTube. Are there any types of contributors you're looking for in particular these days over at Popcorn?
In terms of contributions, I mean, so the app is available to anyone right now, so anyone can get into it. They can buy pop. They can take their stable coins, deposit it into the app as well, into Butter. We have more products that are being rolled out as well. So we have a Synth Forex Butter product, which is going to incorporate the Iron Bank non-USD stable coins into the underlying, which I believe are offering 3 to 4x higher APY on those stable coins. So our focus right now is rolling out this DeFi suite that we planned. Then you can also like take a look at our roadmap and see what exactly it is that we're doing, which is on our Notion that I can share. And there's quite a lot on there, so we have a busy year. But so the Synth Forex Butter product is coming out. We have sweep pools, which are single-sided vaults that we'll be incorporating as well. So you'll be able to take your Ethereum, your Bitcoin, and you'll be able to deposit into Popcorn and earn yield on there. So we have a team, or we specifically assembled a team that can not only create these products, but also be creative at the same time and see what other protocols we can plug into. Because if you are in the DeFi space or just crypto in general, every day is sort of like a new world. So we're constantly looking, researching, seeing what we can do to offer the Popcorn DAO and optimize yield, and as well as being prepared for, I would say, end of Q2 or Q3 when we've accumulated enough fees to be able to donate to charities, because that's very much the USP. And if you like I was saying before, it's interesting that there are so many of these primitives and protocols that are coming out, and a lot of them are offering essentially like the same product. DeFi is great because like you can essentially just fork anything and just copy pasta and do the thing, right? But I think it's a big message that we're sending, and also just looking at Popcorn as like a new asset class in itself, something that can really optimize your portfolio. Taking like the whole hedge fund or wealth manager model, but also applying it to philanthropy. And then there's something that we didn't really speak about early last year, and the more and more, I guess, how we're positioning Popcorn towards the institutional side. A lot of feedback we get is that, is there a way to calculate the amount of earned protocol fees that the individual contributes to in order to use that as a tax write-off? So that's something that we can create in the back end and help for tax purposes. I guess today is the
next year
appropriate time to do it. Yeah. So yeah, it's a thing that people think about, and I think it was the reason why we didn't talk about it, because it kind of like takes away from what it is that we're really building. But ultimately, that's the real world that we live in, and a lot of people do use those tax write-offs to optimize their income, basically.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, totally. I before coming to crypto, I worked in education and did a lot of. I wasn't specifically in development, but I had a foot in development for a certain period of time. And yeah, anybody who knows how development works, that's the way it is. And so solving that on the technical level is really cool. I know that this is certainly a challenge that different projects face in different ways, right? We're friends with Giveth, and different ways that people are trying to do the regen component. But I really like the passive sort of management. Now, I just got to ask you, if people are taking a look at your DApp on mainnet, does I don't want to make sure I didn't misunderstand, or other people, is there some like gas subsidy or subsidization that is involved here, or no?
Do you mean do we pay for gas for users, or?
Yeah, I didn't know if there was some protocols are experimenting with that, right? I wasn't sure if y'all were covering any portion of the gas. Yeah.
No, I think what we try to do is, it would be great if there were other chains. Well, actually there are. So if you take a look at Phantom and Avalanche, and you look at like the blue chip stable coins on there, like with USDC, and like USDT, they're offering like pretty competitive returns, and those are much cheaper to use. So like, and I remember I was like, well, this makes perfect sense, because it's used to fuel the network, to pay for your gas for each transaction. And so then, you know, it's evolved into being not only a settlement layer, but this like blue chip asset class that's forced other chains, specifically L2s, to build on top of it so they can scale the whole ecosystem, which is great. And you know, that kind of like leads me to, you know, thinking like, well, where does like Ethereum sort of go, and what does DeFi specifically look like when we do have this sort of like Lego piece modular playground that we can plug into, given that everything is, you know, EVM, or trying to be EVM compatible. You know, everything is sort of just like a complementary or supplementary piece to each other. But to answer your question, we don't have like a gas subsidy, but we will try to create more products that exist on other chains that make it super cheap for you to do DeFi with Popcorn.
Yeah, cool. I just thought I'd ask them, and I saw the other two in the menu, and just to clarify for folks that might be interested in sort of aping in on this, you know, it is run on Polygon, but not the Butter. The yield optimizer is only on mainnet, correct? For the time being.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I mean, if you did want to ape in and you want to like save on gas, Polygon's your best bet, because then you can take those pop tokens on Polygon and then stake them, which I think it has like over 100% like APY. So I mean, like I said before, it's not gonna be around for too much longer. But yeah, now is the time to get in.
Sweet. And so if people are, you know, going over to popcorn.network, or they're getting involved on the DApp here, give us a flavor, man. I know you said you might share the notion, but what we're looking out for the rest of the year, what are some of the highlights you think are, you know, maybe near midterm? What excites you, man?
Honestly, I mean, it's been a year in the making for Popcorn. We just released the app like about a month ago. Butter was just released. So we just got word from our friends at Synthetics that a contract that needed to be completely audited done, and that helps us roll out the Iron Bank Butter. So if you actually go into Butter right now and you hover over estimated APY, you can see the yield on the underlying stable coins, which is like roughly like 3%. So that, when we incorporate the Iron Bank tokens, will be much higher. And that, I think, is very important, especially if you're trying to be competitive in the space. And the fact that like Iron Bank tokens, or these non-USD tokens, are becoming more utilized as stable coins, given that there's a new proposal on Curve for the liquidity pools that can also help us to issue the Curve LP tokens, and kind of like simplify the architecture for rolling out, or the architecture necessary for rolling out the Synth 4x Butter. Yeah, I mean, the sweet vaults or the sweet pools that are coming out as well, and then really just like I would say I'm a DeFi degen at heart, and I think it's like fascinating that we can do philanthropy thing in parallel. Like, I think it's actually incredible, and sort of fascinating that we're still kind of like the only ones that are going this direction, which is great, because like we've carved out a niche for ourselves. But the vote escrow model that Curve introduced, which took me like several months to understand, as well as I'm sure like a lot of people when it first came out, is something that I think is becoming, or that is legitimately or not legit, like arguably one of the most novel introductions that DeFi has made. The fact that like you can create more utility for a token by baking in this whole like vote model, where it's required to not only lock, but the longer that you lock it, the more voting power that you have. And then, you know, what we've seen in the Curve and like convex wars in bribing different products or tokens or pools with higher rewards. I think like that in itself is something that takes a while to understand, and you know, people in traditional finance, when they actually first hear about it, it's sort of so esoteric and confusing. But I mean, this is like the fascinating part about and DeFi, is that like smart contracts have essentially like evolved into us being like it's a very creative way in propping up token value, which I think it would be interesting if there were a lot less pop or a lot less curve emissions, given like how long it's branched out for, but and like what that would do for the curve token value in itself. But I'm very excited to play around with that more, especially as more products on Popcorn are released. So it actually will create even more utility for the POP token. So you will be able to lock your POP token to participate in governance for the beneficiary and grant elections, but also you'll be able to vote on which products on Popcorn will receive more POP rewards, and I think that's super cool.
You can get some off-chain people to ape in for strong governance. This is like, I don't profess any technical knowledge on it, but the escrowed contracts are something that Billy Jitsu, who is a good buddy of ours, builder in the One Hive community here, and other projects such as Superfluid and Bright ID and all this, he's been big on this and helped me understand more than I could alone. In terms of as you said, the general utility, adding additional use case for your governance, the governance aspect, or any token that claims to be functioning as a governance utility token. Really cool. Yeah. And so if people are here and they're interested in getting involved, jam to everybody here in the Discord. I know some of you are watching on YouTube. Once again, head over to popcorn.network to learn more about the project here, and popcorn.dao.finance if you want to get involved either on Ethereum or Polygon. And then it is also the case, right, that people should keep an eye maybe on the DApp for some new chain rollouts. Keep an eye on Popcorn DAO Twitter. Thinking in the next quarter or so, people could expect maybe an L2, most likely. So the coin's already there, right? It's just a matter of getting the deployment out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would say early May, so the next version of Pop. So if you have stable coins and you want to deposit and earn yield on those, or much higher yield on the stable coins and the underlying, then you'll be able to do that as well. But I mean, it's going to get very interesting when we start voting. We start voting on which products will receive like certain pop emissions, and for all of that is still like being worked out right now. It's not 100% finalized, but it's coming in the near future. But early May, Synth 4x Butter, Sweet Pool is coming out. Park your pop on Ethereum and Polygon right now, earn those rewards, and then that you get later in the future. Theoretically, they should. Well, I don't want to say anything, but they will be. It'll be a good asset to include your portfolio. Let's say that.
Right on. And people know here, not financial advice, but take a look here. You can, the beauty of Popcorn DAO is it seems like you can be, as you said, a degen at heart and still do good with your earnings here. So popcorn _DAO. Yeah.
One of our investors actually said the other day, we're having lunch, and he's like, what I think about Popcorn is that we make it degenity, or I don't even know what word he used. I think it was degeneracy or degenity. We make it simple. We do the degeneracy for you. We allow you to generate passive income on your crypto and then do good at the same time. So we're the degens. You want help, you want to boost your yield on your crypto, but also feel good about your investment. Then Popcorn is the place to park your bags.
Hell yeah, folks. And you can you do LPing on sushi? So LPing on sushi is on Polygon or on Uni on mainnet, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Another important thing I should mention as well is we want to make our treasury a productive treasury. So we have a proposal that we're finalizing right now that would make the POP token, I guess, a bit even more intriguing given what we want to do with the yield that we earn on top of it. So roughly there's 4 million that we want to put into the protocol, take the yield off of that, perhaps do a pop buyback program. So sort of like similar to what Terra Luna does, but we also want to take some of that yield and donate it to charity, because that's what that's the reason why we created Popcorn, not because we love the DeFi madness, but also that we can apply that to philanthropy.
Yeah, well, and how's that? I'm curious to know a little more about in terms of your outreach to institutional investors and the likes. I mean, obviously, it takes a certain amount of like crypto nativity. I don't know, that's not a word. I can make up words. It takes a certain amount of pre-existing knowledge to sort
Savviness.
of grok the thing. But yeah, I mean, tell me about this. Is this because I also feel like the philanthropy side of it is a clear bridge to people who are not right knowledgeable about crypto per se. Um, yeah.
That's a good question. And also, for example, tomorrow I'm actually moderating a panel with Toma Bravo, which is a huge fund that got into FTX and Anchorage. They have like a $3 billion like growth equity fund. Neural Capital, XBTO, Humla, like very like influential like venture capital, traditional venture capital that have been getting into crypto more and more so. And there's specific questions that I'm asking them about their liquid strategies, because this is something that venture capital is doing in crypto right now. So they do pay attention what they can do with like their stable coins, if they're that familiar with DeFi and they have the crypto laying around. But part of what we want to do to make it easy for the institutional side is, and we do now have, it's a lot easier to buy crypto now compared to 3 or 4 years ago on the institutional side, because the most important part for them is that they need to be KYC'd, and then they need to have a custodian that's DeFi enabled. So like what we can do for our institutional partners is that we can like support them creating like a Silvergate or Signature Bank account, which does the KYC for them. And then when they do buy crypto, we can direct them to Fireblocks or Copper. So Fireblocks, if you go on their portal, we can, this is something that we're looking into doing, is that we can essentially like buy the license or essentially get set up on Fireblocks, put Popcorn on the portal, and when you click icon, it takes you to the app, and then you have your custodied crypto DeFi enabled. So like that didn't exist like a year ago. This is like all fairly new. So that's something that I'm going to be literally pitching to not only the people on the panel, but to like everyone at this conference tomorrow in New York. It's called the Institutional Crypto Conference. So it's a whole lot of hedge funds, family offices, high net worth individuals that are not only, if they're not already in crypto, and like looking to get into it, this is a place where a lot of like institutional support. So like the custodians and what have you, they'll be there, and it's just like a sign that the institutional money hasn't really even like arrived yet, but like it's coming. We're actually going to FTX Bahamas next week, which they're sort of, I guess, like the leaders in terms of like being the interface on the institutional side, as well as like in the exchange world. So yeah, it's either that or you create like a fund that anyone can essentially like LP. So we think about this a lot, and like the infrastructure is much easier to set up now than it used to be.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a combination of building the infrastructure and then having folks like you that are able to usher in and sort of hold people's hands as necessary to bring them across. Very cool, man. Well, good luck at the conference.
Yeah, thank you. And just like one last thing, I mean, like when we were fundraising last year, I mean, there were certain offices, like family offices, that wanted to get in. Like the demand is there. It's sort of like this like desperation as well, and it always comes down to like, well, we have to talk to our LPs, or if we did talk to our LPs, like how do we even buy crypto right now? It's like, well, I'll show you. For you.
Yeah, right on, and then automate your charitable deduction. Right on. Well, very cool, man. It's been great to meet you and chat here, and everybody, again, check out Popcorn .network, popcorn.DAO.finance, and we'll keep track here with the updates, and maybe look forward to having you back on to give us an update when you get it's one of these new features rolled out, and it's great to be able to participate and give to good for sure, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here. This was a good time. How do I send you the roadmap? as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you just want to DM me in Discord, that would be fine. And or if you want to drop it here in the One Hive Discord. So this Discord is getting an overhaul in the next month. But if you, you scroll up from the stage where we're at right now,
Yeah.
the One Hive TV channel is a good spot to just drop any relevant links that you'd like to share with folks, and we can do it that way.
Cool. Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Sweet. All right. Well, again, everybody, GM, thanks for joining us today, and hope we learned something here. Michael, appreciate you joining us, and we'll look forward to chatting again soon, man. Have a great week and travel safe.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, man. GM, everybody, we have, as I promised, we have one follow-up question for people who want to earn some honey, and this one is all about popcorn. So if you were listening to what Michael is sharing with us today, and you're checking out some of the links that we've shared, you should do well on this question. So we got one more here. Again, you got to go over to YouTube. Okay, you got to head over to YouTube to be able to see the question itself. We had a little bit of lag last time, so we're at the end of the show here. If you're still with us, fantastic. GM to everybody, you know, and we'll just chill, make sure everybody's there on the game before we begin. So let me go ahead and get this set up on YouTube. I'll drop another link to the YouTube channel in the One Hive TV chat channel, and y'all can head over there and check it out. Again, in order to play, all you need is a mobile device, so you can buzz in your answers. So I'm going to mute up here for a second, get the screen ready to go. We'll do our last question, and we'll wrap up for today's stream. All right, so again, we got a new game pin this time. So it is a separate game. I wasn't able to, you can't see the winner until the very end of the game. So I had to make two separate games, one with each question. We'll maybe do this a little bit differently next week to try to get everything into one game. If we can, we'll see. But head over to YouTube, and then you get your game pin that's up on the screen there. You need to go to kahoot.it in order to see the question when it comes up live. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give 60 seconds. I'm going to set a timer here. And in this 60 seconds, everybody needs to go to YouTube, 1HTV, click on the live stream if you're not watching already, go to kahoot.it and put in the game pin, and we'll have a multiple choice question to wrap things up here.